Okay, so in this pool fit tip, I want to talk a little bit about using foam dumbbells. I want to dive a little deeper into choosing the correct size and being concerned about the grip when you're using them. And to also kind of explain why you don't see a lot of videos on Poolfit or Fit Motivation that are using the foam dumbbells. Here's why. I have taught classes, aquatic fitness classes, for 20 years. And in 20 years at YMCAs and JCCs, I've seen a lot of egregious form violations on behalf of my students. They just don't do well once they get in the water with these. You see them exercising with their shoulders up to their ear. I don't know why they always grab the biggest foam dumbbells they can find. They just don't understand that once you push this underwater, there's a gigantic force that acts on it. That's the upward force of buoyancy. That's the opposite of the downward force of gravity. So, and here I teach both in the studio and I teach in the pool. And in the studio, I can never figure out why the students grab the teeniest, tiniest dumbbells they can find. But in the pool, the most deconditioned older adult grabs the largest. In fact, we got these large buoys here. They grab the largest buoy they can find. I don't know. Light on land, yes, it's very light on land, but the minute you push this under the water, it interacts with the upward force of buoyancy. This enormous buoy could never be managed without someone with a lot of muscle mass. You have to be a very tall, very muscular, very fit person to be able to use a buoy of this size. The ones that I have in my hand are really large to medium. The goal here is if you're just starting out, you should be looking for some smaller foam dumbbells. Start with smaller foam dumbbells. You could even take a noodle, cut it into quarters, and just use 2 small noodle pieces in your hand. That would be much less density to start out with, to test it, to see how it's doing. This is crucial. Choosing the correct buoy size is essential to having an effective workout. Why is this so crucial? Because of your shoulder. A lot of people have shoulder issues. So if you're exercising with your shoulders up to your ears like this because you have buoys that are too big, you have nerves that pass through the acromion process here. And when your shoulder is elevated with scapular elevation, those nerves get pinched off. That's shoulder impingement syndrome. If you've never had that, trust me, you don't want shoulder impingement syndrome. And also your rotator cuff muscles, very small, delicate muscles. They get pushed up into that bony acromion structure here, this bony area. That can cause little tiny micro tears. Micro tears cause inflammation, and inflammation is pain. You just don't want that. So it's important that you learn to work with small buoys so you can make like a dancer and you exercise with scapular depression. The muscle that dictates scapular depression is your lower trapezius. You have to learn to train that muscle, the lower trapezius, to keep your shoulders down. And the best way, just do some farmer walks with some heavy buoys in the water, keeping your shoulders depressed. Right here, you're training that lower trapezius to better manage those foam dumbbells so you can exercise more safely with them. The other thing, and speaking of the size too, just if you don't use the foam dumbbells if you've got shoulder issues or some shoulder pain or some kind of pain going on in your upper body, it's not worth it. Just do a workout without the foam dumbbells. So always keep that in mind. And I just want to talk about the gripping issue. In a group fitness class in the studio, we would use some hand weights, but we would set them down frequently and do other things. I've seen a lot of aquatic fitness classes taught where the buoys are in the hand the entire 45 to 50 minutes. That's not good. That's 45 to 50 minutes of gripping. That much gripping at a minimum is going to cause discomfort in your hands, in your wrist, in your forearms. But if you have arthritic conditions in your hand, it's going to cause pain. And if you have heart conditions, it can elevate your blood pressure to grip with a tight grip for too long. You've got to, in my workouts for Poolfit or Fit Motivation, you're always going to get hand breaks. I find ways to just rest the hands and still work while you're keeping control of the buoys. You're doing some powerful lower body movements, but you're not gripping. Or you just do segments where you don't use them, so your hands get an extended break. That's really important when you're using the buoys. And then I just want to touch on one other issue. I'm going to grab an Aqualogix bell here. The difference between these two, well, there's a lot of differences. First of all, this is foam and this is drag resistance, and they have complete different muscle outcomes. This works as you press it down against the upward force of buoyancy, and it has limitations. You mostly get a good workout in your tricep, in your latissimus, but it doesn't work your bicep or your shoulders. You'd have to be in gravity to be able to do that. This is drag resistance. This works the muscles on both sides of the joint, so you have better muscle balance. But what's also different, you see the difference in size. This was never meant to be pushed diagonal or circular because it's bulky. This is ergodynamically shaped to go in any direction your arm wants to go in. So you see a lot of the videos I recommend inserting these as opposed to these. And another thing that's really, really, really important, you can't just insert foam dumbbells into any workout that you want to. These were never made to be inserted into any workout. You have to have a workout that was specifically designed for the shape, the size, and the interaction with buoyancy because of foam. So please don't just take these and insert them into any Fit Motivation or Poolfit workout. That's not what they're designed for. Webbed gloves or these Aqualogix strainers, they can be inserted into most workouts. So I hope that this deeper dive into hand buoys helps you to understand why they're okay, but they do have limitations, and that's why you don't see a lot of Fit Motivation or Poolfit videos with them. And I hope you have a little bit better understanding of using foam dumbbells.